Well then, today's match then is going to be between Berserker and Devil Viper. You can basically know both of them as some kind of Norse experts, especially for Loki or Devil Viper, who kinda barely plays anything else. It's not like he couldn't play. He does play some other Norse and maybe even Zeus I have seen in his profile when I was checking a bit earlier today, but overall he's definitely best known for his Loki and he is actually pretty good with him, so definitely not one to underestimate even against a player that is so well known and is an expert at RTS-Sanctuary, Berserker, who is basically one of the best Norse players around, and even though he is much more inclined towards something like Thor and such, yeah, he's definitely not going to be bad with Loki either, and since his opponent is playing Loki, it's probably a good idea to play Loki as well as, yeah, playing with Thor against Loki could be proving a bit tricky. But the first map is going to be Medit, so let's start with the first game of the match of the second round of the No Pitch tournament. Looking how this match actually wasn't streamed by a caster, it was I think just streamed by Berserker. We are not going to be having the advantage of having a line of sight of both of these players, but so far that's probably not going to matter all that much as we are looking at Berserker starting on the right side and having the water quite far away from him, I have to say. So it's going to be a bit of a tricky map, it seems. Let's throw the Fog of War. Oh yeah. And he's actually the only one having kind of a peninsula in here into the water, as opposed to his opponent who is having basically the standard positioning of the water shore and such. And looking how he's positioning his dock right next to double singles in here. It's looking like that it's going to be a pretty good position and right in the middle of the map. So otherwise, of course, gold at the bottom together with berries. And do we see some piggies somewhere? So far not, we don't see really the wild boars anywhere, and really not really enough of piggies for him overall, so he's going to be having to just rely on the food source, that is the berries, and otherwise, as he's going to be finishing with the rock, he's going to be of course switching into house pretty soon, and then go for a bit of scouting and try to locate something that would be a bit more useful for his food economy, like the pigs. Looking overall, when we turn off the Fog of War, this is a pretty decent map for him. Those three some on the top are pretty decent. It's one at the bottom and yet another one at the very bottom. So this is a very nice position for his map, for his dock. But overall, it's not really all that ideal as it might seem, because his opponent is quite close by. You can see this is really like basically one screen and a quarter width. And they are of course going to be stealing each other's fish pretty soon, especially looking at the red player who is having absolutely nothing at the top. Just something at the bottom, and looking at this, oh well, Devil Red Viper is definitely drawing the shortest straw and is going to be having a lot of problems with the water overall in here. I would be expecting, especially with the early economy, which should result in faster advance for the blue player, as of course any kind of differences like this make quite a lot of difference, of course, in the advanced times. Let's throw the Fog of War for the red player to see what he has scouted. He hasn't scouted even this one, or maybe he has seen it, but not really going for it at all. But he has scouted a bit more piggies, as you can see, as he is already using them. But otherwise, he's definitely going to have to rely on the berries pretty soon, as it doesn't look like that he's going to be having an extra pick somewhere behind. Actually, he will be, so he's going to be a bit lucky if he goes all the way to the back. Let's see, because that's not assured, because often players actually do not go to all the corners, and this is exactly what happened right about now for Devil Red Viper, and he just missed the picks, which could be pretty important for his economy, because he's already running out of the ones next to his own base. You can see just 50 full left, and he's going to be forced into the berries as he's already in, coming into them, and this would definitely help him, the economy, in the early game. Otherwise, he's going for a temple, and opposed to his opponent, it's slightly faster for the red player, but not really all that much. You can see that he's even leaning by 6 points, but I don't really expect that to be anything all that bad. You can see the amount of fishing boats for 5 for the red player, and for the blue we can see a whole lot more. You can see 8 fishing boats. 8 fishing boats for blue, whereas you can see just 5 for the red. That's just a huge advantage in there for the blue player, and he should be having a pretty good game from there on. Looking at the minimap, we are seeing a lot of hunt at the top side, like literally a ton of hunt together with berries. Just in spot of the map, that could be pretty important in case one of the players loses the water and decides to go lane on. We are seeing Foresight already 20% for the red player, and for the blue one, I think he just clicked. Yeah, It was looking like that, as he was sending the villagers to actually deposit all the food that they were having, and he was advancing a bit slower than his opponent. But yeah, it's just a few seconds and shouldn't matter all that much. Well, Hippospis Axeman throwing Axeman hack damage. Definitely pretty nice for the throwing Axeman. And another relic is at the top, which is for faster Mythonic training time, and that's, well, it could be useful in the Heroic Age, but overall, I don't really think it's going to matter all that much. Maybe in the Mythical Age, of course, for Fire Giants, but yeah, no, it's not going to be anything game-changing at this game. Second dog already built for the red player, as he's hoping he's going to be having a bit more extra fishies at the bottom. Already can at least protect those double ones in there. With the blue dog being finished also slightly to the bottom, so that's going to be a battlefield where we are going to be seeing a lot of fights between the longboats of the red and the blue players. Otherwise, let's check some economy upgrades. Berserker. Red didn't have anything. Berserker is having nothing either. We're just now going for pickaxe and hand axe in there. In here, whereas looking at the other player, Devil Red Viper. Has he already researched? Yes, he did. Hand axe. But pickaxe is not being researched, so that's a big advantage right now for Berserker. And since he has already been having much better economy on the water, well, I kinda thinking that this is going to develop into a bit of a problem for Devil Red Viper if he doesn't somehow on the water fast enough. Well, so far he's having an advantage in the numbers, as the blue player is not really fast enough because of the slightly slower advance time into the next age, but it should really be coming up for him pretty soon, as I don't expect there to be any kind of problem with that for just a few minutes in here. What I was quite curious, to be honest, from Devil Red Viper was the cast of the Spy, because I think that's pretty much a waste. Because why would you cast Spy on a boat when you actually are dictating where the engagements are going to be taking place, and you basically see all that you need to see? There's not much that your opponent could be doing. You are having fishing boats just exactly where you are having your other boats, the military boats, so there's no way that he could somehow surprise or anything. And just so that you know how many boats actually your opponent is having, yeah, well, that's not good enough. But looking how he probably didn't think that he could be raiding his opponent anytime soon, even though I think he still has. Yeah, the troll here. The opponent's troll is basically the same situation, so you can see that neither is interested in anything extra than just the water battle right about now, with both using the healing spring to give them some extra advantage if they are able to somehow strategically retreat from battles. So far it seems like that the boats are reasonably healthy for red, whereas blue is having quite a lot of them kinda have that, so this would be a pretty good opportunity for red to advance into offensive and deal some damage, but unfortunately he probably hasn't noticed, so he's basically like just letting Berserker get the health up on all those booties in here, and yeah, when the encounter takes place, I'm kinda thinking that blue is going to be much better ready than he is, or rather would be, in an engagement now. So bit of a radiant fight now coming in from Devil Red Viper. Doesn't seem like that blue is thinking about something like that, even though he's going at least for the relic, which was for better throwing Axeman. Otherwise, the economy is really getting stronger by the blue player, and of course by the red as well. There's so far not any kind of significant difference in the economies. That pickaxe and hand axe still, of course, we have seen that. But still missing pickaxe Devil Red Viper. That's really interesting, because that makes a lot of difference. You can see that he's having just 70 right now, 74 gold. Whereas I'm pretty certain that Berserker is going to be having a bit more. But let's look after this battle engagement is somehow going somewhere, and it's looking like almost that Berserker is going to be winning. You could have seen that he was kiting a bit by the boats at the bottom that were basically retreating a bit back. Exactly. Yeah, he's kiting a bit, which is definitely going to help him, because that basically means that the boats of the red player are just going to be pursuing exactly like this, and that means that they are not dealing damage, but at the same time they are being dealt damage too by the remaining blue boats, and that's exactly what is going to help you quite a lot in equal mirror battles in basically any kind of situation in Age of Mythology. So yeah, you can see that in the end, even though the numbers are pretty much equal, Berserker is coming out victorious quite strongly, and there's at this point not much that actually the Devil Red Viper could be doing, as of course now the blue player is not going to relinquish this advantage in numbers, I'm pretty sure of it. Yeah, there's literally no way that he could be losing this, and already you can see that Devil Red Viper is building inside his dock, basically relinquishing the water altogether, and there's not much that he could be doing in minutes to come. At the same time though, he has already started a bit of raiding, so he is right now at the economy. Not exactly sure why he's afraid of the troll. It's not like the troll is actually doing any kind of significant damage, just 4 damage to the Herasir. And the Berserker wasn't paying attention, but right now, with all the villies actually going for a bit of a villy fight, that was a pretty good moment to retreat, as that wasn't going to be a good fight for the Herasirs, as in the Classical Age, villagers are pretty strong indeed overall. Yet another engagement on the battle, on the water, as Devil Red Viper is attempting to actually at least force his opponent next to, rather, of the shoreline, so that he can get at least a few resources with the fishing boats, but unfortunately it doesn't seem to be working for him all that much, exactly as we were expecting. Berserker is doing a pretty good job. Devil though is engaging in pretty nice moment and looking at the half-red boats of the blue player. This is pretty nicely played by Red, and I kinda think slightly underestimated by Berserker, but I'm not exactly sure that he's going to be minding all that much. You can see already poor Sane for the fishing boats. That he's having even better economy than his opponent than he already is. And this is basically just waiting for the correct moment for the blue player, as of course he's right now in the advantage. Switching into his point of view, you can see even on the economy, and he's basically just waiting to advance into the next age in some reasonable time. He has dropped at least double longhouses so that he can defend against the Radiant. He's coming his way through the Herasirs of the red player, and otherwise it's almost looking like that he's preparing himself to defend the gold and really have a bit of fight on the water, and then when he's ready, jump into the heroic age and decide the game there. Well, this is looking like quite nicely for blue, and I'm not exactly sure why he isn't fighting next to the docks exactly, because he was just missing the extra fighting from the dock, and he could definitely be luring his opponent to the bottom, because it doesn't seem like that Red is not really microing all that much, and exactly as we said that, he has exactly done that with the chitin finally, and that could be turning the battle around, because once you are in equal battle, and also in equal micro situations in here, well, it's going to be all about the numbers, and the numbers are right now definitely for Devil, and it seems like that Berserker kinda underestimated the situation and even maybe thought that the water is already won for him. At the same time, he has already cast Spy on his opponent's Herasir, which is a pretty good idea, much better than, of course, the Spy that the blue player was cast on the boat. That wasn't really all that cleverly played by Devil Red Viper, I have to say. But otherwise, he's not looking all that promising for the blue player. He doesn't have the army, but definitely the red player has to be careful, because unfortunately for him, he didn't pay any attention to it at all and wasn't counting with the possibility that his opponent could be also having another army coming from the bottom. So he has just seen the few units, the few Herasirs coming from the top, and he basically expected that it's going to be it for the army, exactly as he's having. But well, you can see that was a pretty big mistake. Pretty big mistake indeed, and right now he's going to be paying with not only the lives of some of the dwarves and the pigs obviously, but also with pretty significant downtime in economy on the gold, because he has already run out of the gold inside his base and is right now having either this gold at the top or the one at the bottom. So basically not the one at the bottom obviously, as he's switching also on the Wurla in here. And the one at the top is of course not going to be free for him either, because there are still the remaining units from the blue player, and well, this is a pretty big problem right now for him, as you can see. Nicely played Spy, so exactly going to be showing Berserker where the most of the army from Devil Red Viper is, and where he needs to send reinforcements, or potentially where he can go for a bit of Radiant at the bottom, exactly like this. So this is very nicely played, and I'm fairly certain that even though Berserker is still fighting on the water, as you can see, not really giving up altogether, he probably doesn't mind all that much, because he already knows that he's having the advantage on the land, quite significant one, and he's already even attempting to steal a TC, so not even rushing into the heroic age, but he's just going to make life for his opponent as difficult as possible. And even though he's right now happy about the gold, you can see that due to the very nicely played Spy by the blue player, he's exactly seeing what is happening, and well, you can fully expect It is not really army, just a few piggies. That this attack from the bottom, exactly with the TC in here, is going to be quite deadly for the red player. Goodbye tower, so there's not going to be anything useful for you. Devil Red Viper not really anywhere close by to not even research the towers, but also advance into the next age. So on the water, it's still a bit of a battle going on between both players, slightly looking for the red one, but otherwise on land, it's quite convincingly looking how, or rather like, Berserker should be controlling the situation. He was already aiming to actually get rid of the dog, even from the land. That's going to be a bit of a coordinated attack, I think. Yeah, exactly. From the water and of course from the land to get rid of the dogs. And since there is just one dog extra at the top, which is also gonna have that. Once he gets rid of at least one of those, it shouldn't be all that hard to get rid of the second also. Yeah, he's losing on the water, but of course, he cannot really fight both of these armies at the same time. Red at the same time is going for a bit of raiding, unfortunately with the spy. So that's exactly seen by Berserker, who's not going to be having any kind of problems defending against this. You can see that he's going for extra long house, and he knows that this is going to be needed to retreat. Come on. Or is he actually not carrying at all? He's probably not even carrying at all, and could that be because he's going for tower? He isn't. He just didn't care really at all, and he's going to be just really fighting it, which is not a bad idea. But looking at how he's located, there could be some kind of lucky spawn of a mythical unit. That could be pretty problematic, exactly like this. Yeah, the Valkyrie is a big problem, and if the red player can right now get rid of the Herser from his opponent, she could kill quite a lot of Phillies in here. Yeah, even though right now he's getting hammered, it's probably not going to be all that much of a problem. With Hall of Thanes right now researched, his Hersers are going to be all that much stronger, and you can already see that they are working their way inside the base and trying to even get rid of the TC pretty soon, I think. And with the INR, well, that's definitely a pretty nice help exactly to this kind of effort. At the top, not much really happening with the Red Viper though, trying to rebuild his docks so that he can go a bit more into the water yet again, because there is not much happening in here. Even the economy is kind of half dead, like fully dead almost, from both of these players. Bit of a help from Devil Red Viper, but it's pretty much it. And with right now the full-on assault by Berserker onto the TC without any kind of extra support from the red army, you can see just the one Ulfsark, double Hersers and one throwing Axeman with the rest of the army going for a TC at the top. Well, this TC is going to be pretty much toast, and there's not much that Devil Red Viper could be doing against that. All's coming in at least. That's a bit of help, but of course, quite late. The TC coming down just about now. Goodbye TC. And at the top, yeah, that's going to be, I'm not going to say reasonably easy for him to finish, but looking at the army in here, there's not much that really Devil Red Viper can be doing, even with the TC, as his economy is kinda in shambles. Yeah, well, he could be having some extra reinforcements, but he is housed, and yeah, Devil Red Viper is right now recognizing that this game is already out of his hands, and I definitely have to agree, because without the TC to support this economy, even though he was rebuilding one at the top, it still would have taken quite a lot of time for him to finish. Facing Berserker, who is having a better army than him, having 2 TCs, right now finishing with third, which he didn't probably even know. And on the water, of course, the advantage is right now going to be swinging it into the blue player's face. Yeah, well, not really much that the red player could be doing. And this resign makes kind of sense. So looking at the post game, we can see that Berserker is winning absolutely everything in here. Even though I would have maybe expected that the water could have made a difference, as he wasn't really all that dominant in there. But otherwise, the economy much stronger. Yeah, the difference in the pickaxe was also quite significant. And of course, quite stronger economy in the early game from Berserker on the water made a lot of difference as well. Overall 66 civilian units high, 48 for Devil Red Viper. Since we are in a mirror, that of course makes a whole lot of difference. And not even the 15 seconds faster advance was enough for the red player to make a difference. Yeah, you can see that, but it's not really all that much on the water. You could have seen that it was also on the land. So overall, Berserker just played this game better. GG.